Hey everyone, this is Andrew Cederland from Conversion Logics. I'm going to be talking about 6 signals of a strong summer rental market. Signal number 1, apartment search behavior, Google Trends. So Google Trends is a site that shows the relative popularity of a given search term over a period of time. And as you can see here, apartments for rent searches follow a typically normal trend. You can see they're high in the summertime, they start to fall as the leasing season slows down. And then you can see normally we'd start to see them go up as we head into spring and summer, but you can see here in mid-March and April, there was a big drop and decline in activity. We saw a massive decrease in searches and foot traffic and just overall investment into Google. And then there was a rapid increase. And then since then, we've actually seen it go up where terms like apartments for rent and apartments near me are now higher than they have ever been. And they're higher in July 2020 than they were in July 2019. So this is a great showing of a pretty quick bounce back from the COVID dip that we saw when everything was first starting to happen to continuing on as what we would normally expect to see a strong summer market for leasing. Signal number 2 is rising website traffic for apartment communities. So the average website sessions increase over as the year goes on. They start to rise in spring and summer, and then they fall in the fall and the winter with a typical leasing cycle. In June 2019, the average community we work with had 2,300 visitors to their website. In June 2020, that was increased to 4,000 visitors. That's a massive increase, and it just goes to show people shifting more of their shopping and leasing journey online. They can't go in person anymore. They can't tour in person anymore. So they need to go online, and we're seeing that in the data. More people are visiting your website than ever before. We're also seeing goal completions increase. June 2019, the average community saw 369 conversions across their website. June 2020, that number jumped up 38% to 510 goal completions. That's a huge increase, and again, shows that people are shifting more of their leasing journey online than ever before. Signal number 3 is frequent communication from prospects. So since March, we've seen a 77% increase in calls from to our properties. So in March, there was 30 calls on average. In June, that went up to 53. It's a massive increase. And again, it shows that people are ready to lease up as spring heads into summer. We normally would see an increase like this, and it's great to see such a marked jump over the 4-month period while COVID was happening. Average emails to the community also went up. So they went from 12 in March to 17 in June. Not as big of an increase as we saw in phone calls, but still good to see. Same with average chats. Looking at the 4 months before COVID, and then looking at March and June, so the last 4 months that COVID has been around, there's been a 36% increase in chats to a community. Again, this is people trying to reach out more online because it's hard to go in person. In many states, you can't go in person to a leasing office. And also people just prefer to stay at home if they can to avoid going out unnecessarily. So that's why we're seeing these increases in calls, emails, and chats to communities. Signal number 4, self-scheduled tours make a resurgence. So here's some great stats. Looking at March versus June, you can see we've seen twice as many people doing self-scheduled tours. These are people that are going through using either a tool like ours, Schedule Genie, or a different self-scheduler, picking a date and time that works for them and either doing a self-guided tour, a virtual tour, or perhaps even coming in for an in-person tour still in the places that that's allowed. But apartment seekers are not just browsing on your website, they're not just filling out goals, but they're actually converting, they're taking tours, and again, they're adapting to this new virtual leasing environment. And it's great to see such a huge increase in numbers. For example, one of our Portland communities that we work with, Portland, Oregon, they had 11 tours in the month of April. Then the market started to pick up as we headed into peak leasing season. In June, they had 28 tours. When we pulled the data with a few days of July remaining, they had already had 29 tours booked, and they were still booking more. So that's a huge increase from 11 in April to 29 and counting in July. Fantastic numbers, great to see. Signal number 5, 2020 rent payments on track with 2019. So this chart shows 2019 rent collection versus 2020. You can see the dark orange bar is the amount of rent collected by the 6th of the month. Then it's the 13th, the 20th, and then the last bar there at the very tippy top is the 27th. So you can see in 2019, the average collection was somewhere between 95 and 94%. For 2020, we're seeing that be somewhere in the range of 92 to 94%. So a little bit of a decrease, but not nearly as bad as what people were predicting. And we all know that a large reason for this is the federal stimulus, the increased unemployment benefit that was instituted in one of the stimulus packages a few months ago. And so depending on what happens with future stimulus packages, we may see these numbers decrease a little bit. But for right now, all the data shows that rent collection remains strong. And last, number 6, renter surveys deliver a vote of confidence. So a few different stats from some surveys put out by different companies. In the Rent Cafe survey, 60% of people said they were not planning on postponing their move. In that same survey, 49% of people said their preferences had not changed compared to what they were looking for before. So even though people might not be able to use some of the amenities like a swimming pool or some of the common areas, people know that this isn't going to last forever and that they're going to be able to use those soon, and they're still factoring them in on their searches. It's not changing the criteria of what they're looking for in a building or in a community. In a different survey from Zumper, 34% of the respondents said they were looking for more virtual tours than before, which is great. And again, that goes to what we're seeing with these self-scheduled tours doubling over the previous 4 months, because people are looking to tour on their own terms and tour from the comfort of their home. And surprisingly, when asked about the biggest challenge renters are facing in their apartment search, the most popular response was 55% of people said they were not receiving a response back from a community. Again, that just speaks to the importance of these self-scheduled tours, where the prospect doesn't have to rely on a leasing agent who's doing a million other things to get back to them. They're able to choose the date and time that works for them, and they'll be able to seamlessly tour and take a little bit of a load off of the leasing agent's plate. We've also seen tools like our live chat tool help in that area as well, taking some of the basic questions that come through and helping convert chats into leads that then a leasing agent can follow up on. And so those are some things that we've seen have increased adoption during this time when on-site teams aren't on-site anymore, and they're working to do more with less as the leases and inquiries continue to come in during this time. So just a quick recap, the 6 signals for this summer's strong rental market are: search trends, up and to the right, the highest they've ever been. Website traffic, again, we're seeing record website traffic to our community's websites. Communication channels increasing, that's emails, live chats, and phone calls up more than ever before. Self-scheduled tours, very, very important to have the ability for people to schedule a tour at their convenience on your website. Number 5 is rent payments, holding strong year over year, down a couple percentage points, but nothing dramatic. We'll have to wait and see what the next stimulus package looks like to see if those numbers are going to be affected more. And then finally, survey results. Renters are looking to lease similar buildings as they were before, and they're looking for flexible tour options, and they're still looking to move and rent and lease in a great community. So I hope these 6 signals have been helpful to you. If you have any questions about any of these, feel free to reach out to us and our team, and we'll be happy to talk through some of the data with you and see if we can help you have a strong end to your summer leasing market if you're not seeing some of the results that we're seeing from communities that we work with. Have a great day. Thanks.